All right, so it finally happened. The new trailer for Final Fantasy XVI titled Ambition finally dropped. Square Enix just said, screw it, we'll do it live.
We'll do it live! Fuck it!
We'll drop it ourselves, and they put it on all of their social media channels this morning. Now, oddly enough, someone over at IGN Asia might be in trouble because this morning, before the trailer actually dropped, they published an article detailing the entirety of the trailer, just giving everyone details, which confused a lot of people because we're like, where's this trailer they're talking about? So hopefully the person at IGN who messed up doesn't get punished too harshly. You know, accidents happen, and clearly they might have had like some sort of auto-publish schedule that they just forgot to double-check the timing on. But this trailer itself is beefy. It's story-focused, but there is quite a bit of action towards the end. It comes in at about 4 minutes and 15 seconds long, and we get just the hugest lore dump on all of these kingdoms, their dominance, and their icons. So the trailer actually opens up with Clive traveling with a party of people. They are going across the Deadlands, and interestingly enough, one of these guys in Clive's party seems to be the dominant for Ramuh. We see him later on in the trailer. He's the bearded guy, and he's got a bunch of lightning all over his body, so he appears to be that Ramuh dominant. So we don't know his name just yet, so I'm assuming later on we will get that information. He might be more vital than we anticipated. So we start off with the Kingdom of Rosaria, which is the bastion of tradition. They have Joshua, who is the dominant, and their icon is Phoenix. Up next is Sanbreque, who is the Ambition is Divine Kingdom. They have Prince Dion Lesage, which is a very French sounding name, and he is the dominant for Bahamut. Next is the Dhalmekian Republic. They are the Desert Kingdom. We saw the dominant earlier on in early trailers, I believe. His name is Hugo. He is going to be the dominant for Titan. We see him transform later on as well. Up next is the Iron Kingdom. They are forged in faith and fear. I do not know who their dominant or icon is. My first thought was maybe Ifrit, just because there's a lot of fire and stone around, but unless I missed something, I do not know who belongs to that kingdom. Up next is Waloed. They are indomitable in their isolation, and they are fascinating to me because it appears that they have actually two dominants and two icons. We have the first guy who looks like an absolute badass. I think out of everyone they've shown so far in FF16, this dude looks amazing. He has this really cool black and blue armor. He's got a really awesome looking sword. Forgive me, I'm gonna mispronounce his last name, but his first name is Barnabas, and I believe it's Tharmer, and he is the dominant for Odin. And the funny thing is, if you look at Barnabas and you look at Dion, visually you would flip-flop them. Dion very much looks like he would be Odin based on his color scheme, and Barnabas looks like he would be Bahamut because he's got that black and blue armor. He's got that darker appearance, but you know, Dion is a dragoon, so him being the dominant for Bahamut makes a lot of sense. And then we have Benedicta, who is the dominant for Garuda, and it looks like these two are in a relationship with one another. I actually wrote this in my notes. I wrote Benedicta is clapping Barnabas. So interestingly enough, she is the leader of the Waloed army. She's the commander of their army, with Barnabas being the king. He's apparently very skilled in fighting with his sword. That's actually how he got the kingdom, is basically by sword fighting. He's that good. And in this trailer, we see Clive fighting everyone. Clive is like, these hands are rated E for everyone. All y'all can come and get this shit right now if you want it. Who wants the smoke? Clive is giving it. We see him fighting all of the dominants. And what's interesting is that it looks like there's going to be phases to all these fights. So we see like the one-on-one fight where we have the dominant, kind of like their normal like armored form, which is they're the same size as Clive. There seems to be a secondary form where they grow much larger. We see a larger Odin, and we also see a larger Garuda. And there's going to be that third phase, which is going to be that much larger icon versus icon battle, which are going to be those really unique fights that the developers talked about previously. And then there was something else that I'm not quite sure on in regards to one of the dominants and their icons. We do see what looks like an older version of Jill, who is the dominant for Shiva. she looks exactly like an older version of Jill. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that Jill does become Shiva as she gets older, which, holy crap, does she look amazing. And we actually do have some very important translations from Audrey on Twitter. She was doing a live stream reaction to the trailer on Twitch, where she was actually translating the Japanese version of the trailer, comparing it to the English version just to see if anything was different. And there actually are some big differences in terms of the narrative that were not mentioned in the American version of the trailer, which the first one being Sanbreque is actually the kingdom that invades Rosario Dawson. Yes, Rosaria. I like saying Rosario Dawson. Sanbreque are the ones who invaded. During that invasion, the Eikon, who should not exist, appeared, which I'm guessing is Ifrit, or Ifrit, depending on your level of literacy. And it does mention that the Eikon's appearance, Ifrit, caused the other dominants to go berserk. We see this with Hugo saying that he's going to kill every last one of them, and then we see Benedicta screaming and shouting, destroy everything. So the appearance of this Eikon, which I'm guessing was Ifrit, is causing everyone to basically lose their minds at this moment. Another big important translation detail is that Shiva's dominant, which again I think is Jill, states that what awaits the fate of the dominants is them turning to stone. So it's kind of a sad situation where these characters are granted these powers to become these icons to defend their kingdoms, but the double-edged sword of that is that they're gonna eventually probably die if they are gradually turned to stone. So I'm wondering if it's a situation where, you know, the more they use their powers, the more they turn to stone, or what's going on. But this story itself is very interesting. It's all about the crystals, which the crystals are basically what are powering these kingdoms. And with the crystals' energy fading, they need to find more power sources. And all of these dominants and their icons are essentially acting as nuclear warheads for all of these kingdoms, as kind of like a last-ditch effort kind of thing. Like, hey, we need this, we will fight you for it. And these people are basically being used as weapons, as pawns for these kingdoms, and it's kind of sad. So really getting this huge lore dump on the trailer is fascinating. I was intrigued by previous trailers for FF16, but this trailer in particular, really getting that lore down, has gotten me just absolutely amped for this game. The combat, the characters all look rather interesting. The story is incredibly intriguing so far. This trailer is hands down the best trailer they've shown so far for 16. And on a last note, we will end with messages from Yoshi P himself and Takai. They both just kind of echo the same sentiments, saying that they are focusing on story rather than action with this trailer, which again, you do still get a ton of action, especially towards the end of this trailer, that their team is working on polishing and debugging the game as they enter the home stretch of development. And they said that within the coming weeks, they will be sitting down with various media outlets to do more press in regards to the game. So that's pretty much the video. Please leave your thoughts in the comments down below. What did you guys think of this brand new trailer Ambition for Final Fantasy 16? Leave any of your thoughts and comments in the comments down below. What did you think? Were you blown away? Are you even more excited than before? Do you have a favorite character so far? For me, it's got to be Barnabas. This guy just looks badass. He's got a fun name to say, and he's getting clapped by Benedicta, which is interesting to me. So leave all those thoughts in the comments down below. And again, I want to give a huge shout out to Audrey. I will link her Twitter and her Twitch in the description below. She does such a phenomenal job with translating these things on the fly and providing us fans with information that's rather important to the story that we don't always get in the English versions of these trailers for these games. So go ahead and give her a follow. I will see you guys in the next video, which is going to be my coverage of the Resident Evil Showcase later today, so stay tuned for that. Please remember to always be excellent to one another.